We're being told the latest information as Israeli forces have stormed the main hospital in southern Gaza in what the army says is a limited operation seeking the remains of hostages taken by Hamas. Fox News Channel's Trey Yinks joining us live in Israel with the very latest details. Trey, good morning.
Janae, good morning. We are following these developments out of the Gaza Strip, specifically Gaza's Nasser hospital. This is the largest functioning hospital in the enclave, and Israeli special forces today raided the facility, they say looking for Hamas fighters and the bodies of hostages. This was promoted by the Israelis as an intelligence gathering mission into the hospital complex that they've laid siege on for the past few days. It is notable, though, there are still patients and civilians that are sheltering at this medical facility in Gaza's second largest city of Khan Yunis. The Israelis have not yet released any information about what they found in the hospital, but we have seen some initial video of people who were arrested and detained by Israeli forces who are operating around this medical complex. All of this comes ahead of an expected Israeli push into Gaza's third largest city of Rafah that sits on the border with Egypt. This is considered very controversial because the Israelis have told Palestinian civilians to go south since this war began with the October 7th massacre nearly 4 months ago. Now, what's happening today is pressure from the United States and other regional allies of Israel, basically urging the government of Benjamin Netanyahu to recalculate here, see if there is a diplomatic solution on the table amid ongoing conversations in Egypt to stop this sort of push into Rafah. If it does take place, the Americans have told the Israelis they will need to get civilians out of the way, something that is expected to be incredibly complex. All of these developments on the southern front do come as more rockets and drones are launched from southern Lebanon into northern Israel. There were sirens sounding there earlier today. At the 132nd day of the war between Israel and Hamas, there is no end in sight as this conflict continues. Janae?
Trey, the Israel-Hamas war definitely raging on at this hour. I want to ask you, I know last time we spoke, there were talks of a potential ceasefire agreement. I know that President Joe Biden was speaking to the King of Jordan. Have you heard any updates on that front?
There were some interesting reports today indicating the United States is working with regional allies to put together a broader ceasefire plan that would actually lead to the establishment of a Palestinian state. Now, this is something that likely will not be accepted by the Israeli government, a more conservative, far-right government that includes ministers such as Itamar Ben-Gvir and Minister Smotrich. Basically, ministers who have told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu they would leave the government coalition if there is any sort of deal that would empower Palestinians or support them toward a state. And so internally, it will be likely not accepted if that sort of deal is put forward. But we do understand conversations continue in Cairo, Egypt, for a limited pause in the fighting that could see some hostages released. There are Qatari negotiators, Egyptian negotiators, American representatives, and earlier this week, an Israeli delegation all participating in those conversations. Janae?
Trey Yinks there with Fox News Channel, joining us live in Israel. Trey, we always appreciate your very detailed reporting, as we're always on the edge of our seats to get the very latest information of the Israel-Hamas war. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Live Now from Fox, and you be safe as you work to keep us informed.
Thank you.